Hey everybody, it is Qqcknd and welcome back to 5 Fact Friday. I know it has been a while since 5 Fact Friday. I asked for submissions last week and then... what happened last week? Well, it never happened. Whatever happened last week I think caught me off guard. I was going to introduce like a summer filming schedule where I start filming like a lot less frequently. And I was like really getting into that idea. I was like, yeah, I'll post something on Instagram. I'll announce this like summer filming schedule. Maybe do Tattoo Talk Tuesday every other week and 5 Fact Friday every other week. But then I just like had all these ideas and I was like, I had to film constantly or I don't know what else. I tell myself that being busy is like a good thing. Sorry, there's like motorcycle outside. Summer in the city. So no summer filming schedule ever came to play just because I don't know how to like say no to the ideas that I have. Although sometimes coming up with something can be difficult. But the lookbook that I've been planning for the longest time came out this week. If you remember a really weird post on my Instagram where it was a pile of concrete and I was like, this pile of concrete inspires me every day. And you were like, Qqcknd, what are you talking about? You're crazy. Well, that was like a month ago and the lookbook finally all came together and was filmed and I really like the way it came out. I've been having this dialogue with John and my friends for the longest time where I talk about how important Philadelphia is to the people who live here, but I know that it can be overlooked, or if you're talking to somebody who's like from New York or from Boston, you're like, yeah, I live in Philly, no big deal, stinks, how's Boston? Like, so I just wanted to capture Philly in all of its authenticity without showing it in a negative way that is supposed to be like significant. And by that I just mean, I think I referenced it in that concrete picture where it's like, and John and I have this conversation all the time. People move into the city and they try to capture its ugliness and its grittiness, and sometimes I think that that can come off as offensive because that's people and people live that way. So when you're taking a picture of somebody's car that might be old and run down, but they still make it work and they use it to drive to work every day, and you're novelizing it by taking a picture of it and putting it on your Instagram and hashtagging it urban, sometimes that just doesn't sit right with me, and I get it. I mean, I see stuff like that all the time where I'm like, oh, aesthetic. But I don't know. I was born in Philadelphia and grew up here for a little while, so there are some things where I feel like I'm sensitive to them, but that is diving into this lookbook way heavier than what it is. It's a 3-minute video. I was really into it. I tried to include like everything authentic, and I tried to do a casual outfit, a lazy outfit, and then like a sporty outfit, which is kind of how I roll. I know you guys usually just see me from the top up, so it was really cool. There was some feedback that was like, I had no idea you had that many leg tattoos, and it was like, yeah, that's me, and that is the spring and summer shedding of my clothes, and in the summer I get to be a little tattooed butterfly. And I was really excited to share that with you guys. I know a lot of you have never seen my leg tattoos. So it was cool because, yes, it was a lookbook for style, but at the same time, I feel like I have a certain body type that might not be out there and available, and I have tattoos, and all of that kind of was incorporated into the lookbook with music and my neighborhood, and I couldn't be happier. So now that that has been established and I can get it going, I'm excited to create more content in that light. Yes, Tattoo Talk Tuesday is a show about tattoos that I have to give you guys, and it's interactive and it's your questions and I get to answer them and I love it. But I also enjoy the feedback from people who are like, when you put yourself out there and like show your tattoos or show your body, it gives my own body more understanding, and I think that that is great. I think representation is so important, and I'm not out here as a tattooed model. I don't have a model body type. I'm awkward and weird and flat and butt, and I have no aspirations to be a tattooed model. And I think that there is not a lot of representation for women who are tattooed and maybe necessarily don't want to be a tattooed model. So really diving into this lookbook and tearing it apart, dissecting it into a million pieces, I was so happy to do it. And it's all clothes that I wear. I wore them that day. That was the hair, the makeup, the look for that day and that outfit. The second look was just some loose clothes I was healing my back tattoo in, and I was completely stoked. And those trousers in the third look, I love. I can't get enough of them. Thank you for all the well wishes on my back. I cannot thank you guys more. Everything is looking cool today. And I mean, I think you're catching me like itching it a little bit, and that's true, but I'm like itching it through the fabric of my shirt. Don't worry what to do when it itches. Usually I smack it, but when I'm talking, sometimes I kind of forget. Anyway, John is not here for the weekend. I am home alone. It's weird. Last time he left, I told my grandma, and my grandma was like, "You call us if you need anything." I was like, what are you guys going to do? I left the house at like 4, got a bunch of stuff from the deli. If you follow me on Snapchat, all that stuff came to like $21. So I'm in for the night, no issue. Not that I'm afraid to like go outside by myself. I come home from work later than this, but I'm just tucked for the night. I'm in the house. John got there, he called me, and I'm just in for the night. I got a pack of sandwich cookies, and I got you guys. So I have some great questions from you guys that I love. A lot of people submit questions through Snapchat, and you can always leave comments down below of your questions too. Those are the easiest. Give this video a thumbs up if you want to. Because we are almost at 90,000 subscribers, which is a huge deal. I told you guys that merch was on its way. I've already spoken to the first artist who I want to design my first like set of merch. And a lot like the Qqcknd prints, I'm just going to commission an artist I enjoy, get a limited run of stuff going, and then have it for you guys who are interested. And I think that's the best way to do it, and the way that's most authentic to me, and I assume you guys, because you and I, we're like this. Same wavelength, I'm pretty sure. And I already felt weird about making merch to begin with. So it's not gonna be some like super Hollywood, I'm gonna sell everything at cost just so you guys can have it, because I've seen some YouTubers who sell their merch for like $40 or $50, and I'm just like, no, we're gonna burn the screens ourselves, we're gonna print the t-shirts ourselves. It's gonna be rad. My first question: what are some of your favorite animes and mangas? I saw on your phone that you had Crunchyroll. Yes, I actually like love anime, and I've been watching it for a really long time. Right now in 2016, it is so easy to watch anime. I am so happy that the stars have aligned and I can just go on the internet and find the anime that I like, because it is super easy. When I was younger and growing up, we had Sailor Moon, which I loved. I loved Card Captors. I loved Pokemon. Never really got into Digimon, sorry. Hamtaro, like these were all animes that were available on TV and in English. I used to love them. I love Toonami. I can't thank Cartoon Network enough for making me the woman I am today. But I always wanted more. And back when I was younger, like 13, 14, the only way for me to get anime that wasn't on TV and that wasn't in English was to come to Philadelphia and go into Chinatown and buy DVDs. And I used to go to like this comic book, well, it wasn't a comic book store. They used to have these, I think it was FYE. I don't even know if they have FYE anymore, but it used to be this little kind of VHS DVD store that would have like an adult section, and I think FYE stands for your entertainment, FYI. Places like FYE would have DVDs, anime DVDs, and then these weird spots in Chinatown would have them, but both of those were kind of a gamble, but at the same time, because of that, I got into like a lot of weird, like, indie anime. And not all indie, because I had a Naruto DVD so long ago, and I had the hardest time navigating through the menu because I got it in Chinatown. Because of that, I've gotten into some really, really deep down there animes. School Days is probably my favorite anime of all time. I totally recommend watching School Days. School Days is my favorite fucking anime ever. I watched it during a hard breakup, and I swear I came out a better woman because of it. Comment down below, nice boat, if you've ever seen School Days and you love it and it's your favorite anime. I have watched it all the way through so many times. I made my best friend Justine watch it, and at the end she was like, what the fuck? I love Azumanga Daioh. Chobits was always good. Anything Studio Ghibli, it doesn't matter how old I get. I have a lot of more indie Studio Ghibli stuff that I ended up with just somewhere along the lines. All this stuff's really cool to check out if you ever have gone through all of Hayao Miyazaki's work. I would say kind of dive into some of his weirder stuff because I think it's worth a watch, honestly. I have every single Sailor Moon season that's ever been made not in English, so all of that is really worth watching. I know they've been redoing Sailor Moon on Crunchyroll. I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it in its entirety. I watched the pilot when it came out so I could be on par with everybody, and then I was like, okay, one day I'll finish these. So I haven't gone through all of that yet. What else am I really into? Say I Love You. I recently watched that all the way through. I think that's like 13 episodes. That one got to my heart. But there's not a ton of manga I collect. I frequented my comic book store around my house for the longest time, and I was collecting it. But at the same time, I was also collecting like novels and CDs. If you guys know, I used to have the biggest CD collection ever. So those things would kind of all fight each other. And I used to be really, really into Chuck Palahniuk. And when a manga was $14 and you would get through that in a night, and a novel was the same price and you could have it all week, usually I would go for the novel. So really early on, I didn't collect those. And the weird anime DVDs I was buying, I was a young girl with not a lot of cash because I was spending it on novelties. I used to collect action figures too, and you guys obviously know from my life that that is something I'm very inclined to do. So I also have like a ton of Sailor Moon action figures that I got from Hollywood Video when that was still open. I still have all of those. Hollywood Video was a great place to find anime too. That was definitely how I watched all of Sailor Moon's movies, because those weren't on TV. Comment down below your favorite animes, if there's anything kind of obscure, or if you have some weird like coming to age story about how you found your anime growing up, because it was really hard for me until I started torrent. and then it was easy. And then when Crunchyroll came out, I was like, give me a subscription to that right away. I have it on my phone now. I wish I had more time to like sit down and watch it because John, it's hard for him to see, and I prefer watching my anime subbed, and I think he prefers watching it dubbed, and it's like, alright, we just can't even agree. We're not gonna watch it then. John's rad, and John likes a lot of Studio Ghibli stuff too, even before I met him, so that wasn't my influence. If you ever catch him in a Cat Bus t-shirt, that's all him. Have you had any complications with your job or school, or felt like you have less privacy because of YouTube? Honestly, sometimes I feel some confliction because of this, but I haven't experienced it in like all honesty. I rarely ever come across anyone who recognizes me, and a lot of my friends who I've made recently have to understand the YouTube stuff, but since they're meeting me and I already have it, I think it's a lot easier for them. Like in beauty school, a lot of the really great friends that I met there and still have will talk about my YouTube channel, and it's great to have an honest conversation with someone about that and like bounce ideas off of them and accept and take critiques from them. Like my friend Livia is so great about that. She'll be like, yeah, you did this video, but it was a little long, and you said this, which I didn't understand. And then I'm like, that's awesome, because that is honest input, and it's not coming from a place of malice or anything, because she'll say that, and then she'll be like, let's get a beer. I'm like, okay. But, I mean, it's different when it's critique on, like, a trash talk forum, because those are just people who want to make you feel bad. So that's always cool. I mean, my work knows that I do YouTube because I work there part-time, so I can also do YouTube the rest of the week. And I usually give myself like one day off a week where I just don't do anything. But normally on those days I still moderate my YouTube channel. So my work had to know about it right away. And I also think it like gave me clout during my interview because I am familiar with social media and I do understand those things. And yes, YouTube is like, you know, kind of like a hobby sort of thing. But honestly, I would put all of this work and all of this understanding on a resume, no problem. Because there are things I have fluffed up on my resumes before, which were way less involved. So now, I mean, I would sit down and figure out how to word it, but I would definitely put like understanding of social media, understanding of being an influencer, content creator, that time I taught myself green screen. So I think that those things would benefit me, but I guess it would just depend on the employer. I mean, at my coffee shop, my old boss one day came in and told me that she watched my videos, and then told me she preferred my hair long, and then I got fired. So who knows if those things were connected, but I think right now it really helps my job because it shows that I'm ambitious, and I think that's always a good thing. Sometimes I wish no one knew and I could just be on YouTube and be like, that is like a really small little thing I do that no one knows about, but it takes up so much of my life that I have to talk about it, and I have to talk about it with John, and if something comes up or I just can't hang out because I'm doing YouTube, I feel like it's a lot easier to be verbal about that stuff. So like even the other day I was hanging out with my friend Holly, and our breakfast turned into brunch, turned into the afternoon, turned into the late afternoon, and I had to be like, hey, if I don't go home and film, that video is not going to come out. And it was on a Tuesday, so I was like, Tattoo Talk Tuesday has to come out. So being able to be verbal with my friends about that is helpful, or else nothing would ever get done. Nothing has really happened. I still don't think anyone really knows where I live. Like, some people will be like, oh, don't show your house on the internet. And then I'm like, well, we still live in a really large city with like a really large population. And yeah, I do think there are people out there who are predators and prey on stuff, but honestly, we live in a bad neighborhood, so if you're robbing me from YouTube or if you're robbing me because you followed me home, I'd say it's kind of even. I know that's fucked up to say, but I do live in a bad neighborhood and, you know, I do lock my car door like 700 times and I do like jiggle the handle every single night. So I'm always prepared for somebody to sneak up on me, and I've always been that way. So wherever it comes from, if you are following me from YouTube or something, then maybe you're more nerdy than someone who followed me from the bus. I don't know. That's fucked up to say. I consider my privacy, I always do, but socially it hasn't been a thing that has really hindered me. And I'll end 5 Fact Friday with this last question that I got, and it's, do you plan on having any new comrades for Ethan? And as of right now, no. I've heard John like talk to his friends about getting a dog, but honestly, I think that where him and I both are with our careers right now, we're not home enough to take care of a dog, and I don't think I'm like financially stable enough to take care of a dog. I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with like my experience having pets on my own. Excuse me. And I never want to get stuck in a situation again where I can afford to pay like my animal's veterinarian bills. And because I plan on adopting my pet, I don't know if that animal will come with any sort of baggage. And I also just don't think that we've lived in our house long enough, and what if like I want to adopt an old dog, and I don't know. I don't have any plans, but then again, we didn't have any plans for Ethan, and he came out of the sky. Well, he walked into our house and we kept him, but he's actually like a handful, and I really love him. There's this like, I was telling my grandma, there's this one Instagram where this girl has like a fox and she takes care of the fox. I think it's a girl. And all the time she's always posting like, I don't recommend having a fox. You have to understand feral animals in order to have this thing in your house, and sometimes it's still mean and everything. And my cat is a feral cat, and honestly, like watching this girl raise a fox, I'm like, me and you, girl, I have a cat. I found him eating a shoe. And I think like having an understanding of my feral cat has taken a lot more energy than I thought. And it's still like, we're still litter training him, and he's still like, he'll love you and he'll rub up against you and he'll lay with you for 25 minutes and then he'll just bite you, and it hurts and it bleeds and you're like, now I have worms. He claws up everything, and most people just say like after a while he'll chill out. And I think like if we are having a difficult time like training a cat, then a dog is probably way further down the line for us. Who knows? If a golden retriever knocks on our door and just walks in, like, yeah, I'll keep him, but I'm not actively looking for a pet right now, and I don't think I'm in a really great place to have one. I mean, half of the time, I guess I technically kind of work from home, so I could be with a pet, but then again, like, what if I could have gone to Pittsburgh with John, then we would have to get a dog sitter and then a dog walker because we work all day and all that stuff. I think if I lived closer to my parents, it would be a different story, but we don't, so who knows? But as of right now, I don't have any plans on getting another pet, but I don't know, 5 months ago, I didn't have any plans on getting a pet either, and now I have a little baby boy, so who knows? But thank you guys so much for keeping up with 5 Fact Friday and subscribing to my channel and giving this video a thumbs up. I don't know. I'm really excited to hit some sort of milestone with this YouTube channel. I love you guys so much, and thank you for believing in me and sampling all the content that I provide, because I know it's kind of crazy where it's like, what, is that a makeup video? And then the tattoos, and then the lookbook. But I think that there is a lot of stuff on YouTube where it's like the same stuff over and over and over again, and if I see that same highlighting palette one more time, I'm going to freak out. So I'm glad if you follow a ton of people, you can come on here and maybe you're being influenced by something different that isn't super duper mainstream. I don't know, I'm not trying to talk bad on anybody because almost all of the YouTube channels I watch are makeup related, but maybe this is the one channel you watch that isn't. Or maybe it's the one channel you watch that is. But I'm glad that you guys aren't repulsed by this being a little different. Maybe it's not different. Maybe I just think it's different. And it's not. And everyone does this. But I love you guys. And until next time, until next week, until next inspirational strike, I love you guys. And bye.